Well, hello, my lovelies, and welcome back. And I'm so happy that I'm back and feeling fit again enough to be here. Because what a torrid week it's been. About a week ago, I was late doing my review because I said I had a little tummy bug. Well, it turned out to be a lot worse than that. I got the most terrible gastro, and to keep it short, I landed up on a drip this week, and I'm now on antibiotics, and my review is once again late due to circumstances beyond my control, but here I am back again with my review of episode 5 of season 3 of the Real Housewives of Durban. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who watched episode 4, because my viewers are in the thousands. Thank you very much. I'm delighted. And I don't only have my non-alcoholic bubbly, but I'm also keeping up with my water drinking with my special little Real Housewives bottle. Aren't I lucky that I got given? Yeah, I've got to keep my fluids up. Before we commence, for those of you who haven't met me, I'm Camilla from the Real Housewives of Cape Town cast, also known as the Queen of Constantia, and this is my secret throne room where I do my reviews. I work from notes, so you will find me looking down occasionally because I don't like to miss anything out or forget anything. For the first time on this review, I will be including some clips from the show and from previous episodes, just to compare what people have said or what they think they remember as opposed to, beg my pardon, what really happened. So that you might find interesting. And so, without a moment's hesitation, let us begin. Actually, I think there will be a moment's hesitation. And the moment's hesitation is going to be this. As I've watched these episodes, I found myself asking a question that hasn't happened to me before on previous series of Real Housewives of Durban. I found that they have unfolded to me quite organically. The series that I was on, which admittedly was the first series of Real Housewives of Cape Town, was very unscripted, very organic. We did have a content team who asked us about our lives and the stories of our lives, and they were interwoven, obviously, into the story, and then things would happen and drama would unfold. And I know that we got some kickback that things were slowed to start up and build up, but I'm asking myself if I'm not seeing, and this is a personal opinion, if I'm not seeing, sorry, my nose is a bit runny, so you may find me a bit sniffly. It's all part of this thing that I've got going on. Oh, and by the way, can I just say, beautiful hair. My hair is done by the wonderful Riaz at Blue Lemon Hair in Greenpoint in Cape Town. So if anybody wants beautiful hair, please go and visit Riaz at Blue Lemon Hair. That's a plug, darlings, but he's superb. Just had to do it for him. Okay, so moving on. Sorry, just had to drop that one in there. I'll put his name in the bottom so you can go and find him. Because he's amazing. Yeah, so I'm finding myself asking myself whether I'm not seeing a lot of production pushing or content creation happening in this season that I haven't seen before. And I'm asking myself this. Real Housewives of Durban have gone to Bravo. So that's American TV, which means that they've really hit the big time in terms of a South African franchise has gone to America. The pressure is on. It's big. Bring the drama. And I'm seeing that people have been the deck has been reshuffled. So Sarisha it's like, okay, we're going to move Sarisha from being the sweet, kind one, and we're going to give her a little bit of a villain edge. We're going to move Annie out of the sort of villain edge, and we're going to bring in the sweet side with her. We're going to very much align Nonku and JoJo, and we're going to split alliances. And I'm looking at all of this, and it's not feeling organic for me. I'm seeing a strong directorial content production slant to this. And I'm thinking, have they taken these ladies into rooms and said to them, look, we want you to arrive at this meeting, and this is kind of the angle we'd like you to take it into. Now, for us, it was very much a reality show. And that is how, I don't think I would have been prepared to play it any other way. I think if anybody had said to me, I want you to do this, Camilla, I would have gone, no, it's a reality show. This is what I'm doing. Or I'm not doing it because it's reality. Now I understand, and one is made to understand that things can always be edited and shaped, bearing in mind that you only get something like 1 minute of film out of every hour that you film. So quite clearly things are shaped, cut and edited, so they don't come out the same way anyway, right? But because they're edited. So you do lose control of exactly who you are as a personality, and you become a one-dimensional person on screen. People do not get to see you as a three-dimensional human being, which is why it's hard, and you have to have a thick skin when you're on a show like this, because you can be very judged as, oh, you're a villain, or you're this, or you're that, because they're not seeing you as a whole person. But that's what you sign up for. When you go into a show like this, you have to understand that is very easily what might happen. And you might film a scene and say a whole lot of words, and they only clip 3 lines out of that scene, and it comes out looking very differently. But I'm seeing, in my opinion, a little bit more than that. I'm wondering, I'm going to keep on watching this as it carries on, whether I'm still going to get more of a feeling that this is being pushed by production in order for them to come up with a show that is more dramatic, possibly because they're looking at, this is going to go to Bravo, we want to give them something really punchy for Bravo. Is maybe that why they brought a Sane on board? I don't know. I'm hoping that's not why they brought a Sane on board particularly, because I think they could have definitely done that without her. They could have produced a punchy show anyway, so let's exclude that from the equation. But I'm just, there's something just a little bit off about what I'm seeing here. I will keep you guys posted as to what I'm feeling. So I'm not jumping straight in. Little note from me, my side, production notes. Okay, so let's get right on in here. So we've got JoJo and Maria, and JoJo saying, she's one of my besties. I'm meeting up with one of my besties. And I'm going, okay, well, it's very cute. It's strange because, we've been here a couple of seasons. We haven't met Maria before. You've never mentioned she's one of your besties. But yeah, okay, I get it. And then Maria jumps out of her car and she says, oh, I'm so hot and bothered. And JoJo's standing there, with the golf cart. And it's one of those things, again, when I'm always going about speak your truth. If you're that hot and bothered and she's one of your besties, then why don't you say, oh, JoJo, couldn't we just go inside your house for a moment and have a cold glass of water or a lemonade or whatever and just relax for a moment before we go off in the golf cart? But you don't. You save it up for your confessional so you can bitch about it. Weird. Those things I just never get, because that's not bestie behavior. Anyway, they get in the golf cart and JoJo says, my parents have moved out. Okay, and off they drive, and then they get to the house, and then Maria says something about, can we go in for tea? Do you think she's there? Maria says that, sorry, can we go in for tea? Do you think she's there? And JoJo says, no, all the curtains are closed. That whole exchange was just really weird for me, because JoJo's already said, my parents have moved out. And then they go and they find a nice place by a lake, and Maria says, oh, wouldn't this be a lovely place to have a picnic? Trolls under the bridge, ha ha. I wonder what Maria knows about trolls that JoJo doesn't. And then she says to JoJo, "Oh, don't you read any books?" Anyway, JoJo, I just want to show you. I have a few recommendations. Look, I've been stocking up. So there's this one, and then there's this one, and then there's this one. Now, never let it be said that I'm not fond of Housewives. So, a little bit of light reading there, JoJo. And it really is light reading. It's really quite fun. So, and then that's the end of the scene. Well, what I don't get was, what was the point of that scene? What actually did we accomplish? Were we trying to prove that they were besties? Anyway, moving on. I really can't see the point. So then we've got Mbali meets Sane. I'm going to be putting some video clip in here at a stage during this discussion. I'll let you know when. Oh yes, she says, sorry, I'm just referring, I lost my place in my notes. So Mbali says that she knows Sane, or knows of Sane, because Sane managed one of the guys that she knows. Now that guy can only be Nkobi Yozo, or it's either Nkobi Yazo or Nkobi Yozo. Now he was the one who had a hit put on him, the Durban singer. It can only be. I really can't believe, I only know of her ever managing one Durban musician who then moved to Joburg and became a musician in Joburg. I can't believe the coincidence can be that small. I'm sure it's him. Anyway, boy does Mbali show up here. Now I see why she's on the show. Because she comes out and she's just firm and she just says, I'm not here to gossip. Let's deal with what you've done. Yes, girl, go for it. And she says, at Sarisha's event, you were very wrong. She says, and then Sane says, yes, you know, people, I'm so misunderstood. No, baby girl, you're not misunderstood. Bad behavior and rudeness can't be misunderstood. You're just rude. It's that. It's quite simple. And Mbali says she's rude and she needs to be disciplined. At last. Yes, at last. So Mbali says to her, you're unlikable because you always attack people. Well, quite right, Mbali. And of course, Sane, we then see her in a confessional. She says, I don't owe anybody an apology. I'm not going to apologize. I don't owe anybody an apology. So you're seeing two different faces of Sane here. You see the one who's sitting with Mbali at the restaurant table, and then you see the one who's sitting in the confessional being the real Sane. The two faces, absolutely. Mbali thinks she's going through something. And that's so charitable of Mbali and so very sweet. And I can see that obviously Mbali's gone through stuff in her life. So she is seeing in Sane a sort of a mirror, and maybe she's projecting a little bit of herself. And now she's thinking to herself, okay, so maybe Sane needs some healing and then she'll stop being so angry. No, I think Sane is just the way she is because she's just an unpleasant person. But it's very nice of you to try, Mbali. Mbali tells her that she's a nice person. She actually does that. And at this, yes, that she's really trying to help her. And Sane doesn't think, Sane, of course, Sane, I promise you, doesn't think that there's anything wrong with her. But at this, Sane takes this as an opportunity to use it for an Oscar award-winning performance in victimhood so that she can get Mbali onto her side. And with her voice cracking just a little, she says that nobody's really ever spoken to her like this before or understood her. And her eyes go huge. She looks across the table at Mbali. And if you didn't know better, you might think it was true. And I assure you, there was not a tear in her eye. That was a performance of note. She speak with forked tongue. Mark my words, mark my words. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Anyway, into that scene. But in Mbali, you tried. And you did sock it to her. You told her off. Good for you. You're the first one to tell her off properly. But she's not going to change, I promise you. If by the end of this season, she is being a sweet, kind lady to all of these ladies, and she has looked at herself in the mirror and seen the error of her ways, I shall come on this review and I shall eat, what shall I eat? Something that I really don't like. I shall eat chopped raw liver, 1 bowlful, in front of you all, okay? I promise, okay? I promise faithfully, because I know that I'm going to be correct. She's not going to change her ways. I'm so determined that I'm right. I'm prepared to do that. Right. So now we see Slee, and she visits Baba Mzulwini. And I was quite delighted because he called Slee Gogo. And occasionally I used to in the past get offended when I got called Gogo. But Slee is so lovely and young, and she's getting called Gogo, that it made me feel absolutely ecstatic, actually. I like this scene. Now, last week I said that I felt that Slee was battling spiritually with her feelings that came up for her when she wanted to lay hands on someone. And lo and behold, look what happens when she goes to visit Baba Mzulwini. That exact test comes up for her, and he discusses why it is, how the ancestors feel, what it is she's going through, and why she mustn't do it. There it is, just what I said. And then Nonku and JoJo come up. Now, she said at the very beginning, right in the very early episodes, that she wanted to stay away from them. And at the end of the last episode, she said, I am not your friends anymore. Now, why is she going to him and saying they are still my test if she has severed the relationship? You see, to me, if you've severed a relationship, and maybe I'm on a different spiritual path, but you have then cleansed that. So what she needs to do is go to him, cleanse it and close it. Not say, this is still my test, because it isn't. You've severed it. It's over. Remove. Now, you have quite correctly, because they are toxic. They are a toxic mix for you, Slee. You have quite correctly severed with them. But what I don't understand is why then do you still see it as a test? And you go on further in the episode to perpetuate that. You don't drop it, even after what he says to you. So later on, I will come back to what he says to you. His wise words. He is a very wise man. He tells you what to do about your relationship with them, but you do not heed his words. You don't sever, and you don't walk away, despite what he says. Now I'm interested, and I'm not sure that you are heeding him and your behavior is serving you on your spiritual path. You're a wise woman. You are. Rather follow your spiritual path and listen then carry on the way you're going. This is just what I feel. Anyway, he is a very, very wise man. Okay, and then we see Calvin and JoJo, and so we get back onto the Calvin's going to find me a man. Calvin says that what Slee said was Calvin's going to find, Nonku came over, Slee turned around, and Slee said, Calvin's going to find me a man and then take me to the tattoo parlor. Nonku misunderstood and thought that Calvin was going to introduce Slee to the tattoo parlor man, whose name, as far as I remember, is Mike. Well, be that as it may, it was either introduce her to a man here and get a tattoo there, or introduce her to the tattoo man. But it was introduce her to a man one way or the other. I think the main issue was Slee denying that she wanted to be introduced to a man. So now we get on to what Calvin said happened when he's having this discussion with JoJo today. He reiterates what happened. In each case, he says, he says Nonku misunderstood what I said. Now, he does not say Nonku misunderstood what I said, as in Nonku misunderstood I never said anything. The thing he says Nonku misunderstood is that Nonku thought that Slee wanted to meet the tattoo guy as a date. Nonku thought that Calvin was going to introduce her, Slee, to the tattoo man. That was the misunderstanding. Calvin said that Slee had said, I'd like you to introduce me to a man, and then I'd like you to take me to the tattoo parlor. They are the same in both instances, except I think on the one instance he says, I'd like you to introduce me to a rich man. Nonku and Sia, who I think is Nonku's counselor or therapist, and she's talking about her new man, and she says, oh, he bought me a car, and I had a laugh because I'm reviewing at the moment Real Housewives of Nairobi as well, and it reminded me of Minay, whose chap went off and got himself a baby mama. She booted him out, and then she took him back, and she said, oh, well, I took him back, love is love, and then she said, well, actually, I wanted a Mercedes AMG, and he bought me a Mercedes AMG. And I said, oh my goodness, love is actually a Mercedes AMG. I finally found out the path to true love. So Nonku, be careful. I'm not sure the path to true love is in fact a Mercedes AMG or V8 off-road SUV, whatever. Not sure. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure. So, she says she's glowing. And she says, I'm just wrote here, talk about the glow, take it slow. One of the things being with first love, actually proven that when you are first in love, your brain gets flooded with serotonin, endorphins, dopamine, all the hormones that in fact you get in drugs, literal drugs, like, you know, that like heroin, like ecstasy, all those drugs that you buy to make you feel good is what your body is pumping out when you first fall in love. And there's a reason for it, because biology causes it in order for us to mate. Because if we didn't have it, we wouldn't do it, if you know what I mean. But those hormones and they cause us to feel in love, and they cause us to want to see the person all the time. We think about them all the time. We write messages to them. We play songs, and it makes us feel special about them. Their touch, their smell, all of that gives us that flood of all those lovely, rich hormones and brain chemicals. They're actually chemicals in our brains that are all firing off neurons and things, and they make us feel fabulous. That it is not love. One could call it lust, okay? And it is lust in a way, but it's a bit more than lust, because it can be intellectual and it can be all those things. But the point is this: it's not sustainable. About the longest that it can last is 2 years, and that would be long. Occasionally, in a long marriage, you can recreate it in honeymoon periods. And I mean, you've already said that you're feeling cramped in your own space when he's around you too much. You're a woman who's used to independence. I mean, I would suggest that you would find it very, very difficult to have a man in your space, especially if he's used to or wants a traditional type woman. I think you probably get driven up the wall. I might suggest that you have a more arm's length, long distance relationship. Take your time, darling. That's all I can say. Let it grow, and let it grow slow. But you know, the strongest fire burns out the fastest. That's the other thing. So just little word of advice from a woman who's slightly older than you. So, right. Now, moving on to Sarisha and Maria. Maria goes along to meet Sarisha. She's so excited. She's like a 5-year-old in a sweetie shop. And she, just to get finally, she's going to meet the great Sarisha. And she tells Sarisha that she met Sane about 8 years ago. That's a long time ago. So that means that Sane got booted out of the gym 8 years ago. Remember, she said she got fired from the gym for bad behavior? Surprise, surprise. So that means she was still doing, she was already doing bad behavior 8 years ago. Surprise, surprise. And so she says she had knew Maria about 8 years ago when Sane was doing women empowerment talks. I was like, oh, didn't they make a spelling mistake? Female disempowerment talks, I would have thought, if Sane was doing them. Talks on how to be rude in public, perhaps, if Sane was doing them. How to be abusive to other women at functions, if Sane was doing them. Marvelous, she had lots of people there. How to throw shade. Sorry. Oh dear. How to gaslight. How to power up a whole city without paying anyone. Stop it, Camilla. Oh dear, I think I better have a sip of this. Okay, so Maria and Sane discussing the spa, and Sarisha is absolutely shocked that Maria would take Sane to a spa day when, it's abundantly obvious that everybody can't stand Sane. So why would you do that? And Sane says the girls are going for her. Oh, my heart is bleeding, lumpy custard. It's too sad for words. Somebody bring Sane a tissue. It's not fair. So, what I want to know is, at the spa, Maria and Sane at the spa, why are Maria and Sane having a long discussion about why I'm saying the wrong thing. I'm saying, why are Maria and Sarisha having a long discussion, I'm saying that again, about why Sane is being welcomed into the group or not being welcomed into the group when, I'm going to say this in big letters, Sane is not a cast member. Okay, I'm back to this again. I don't get it. So the two of them sit there and they have this long discussion. Okay, so why are you having a chat to her? And why do we have to forgive her? And why do we have to see her? And why do we have to give her a second chance? And, you know, and why do I have to be nice to her when she comes and she joined us in the group? And why is Sane around so much? And why is she coming along? And discussions about her being in the group. And this is so nebulous. Put her on the blinking opening credits or remove her and have her on every 4th episode, please. It's annoying me. Right. Too nebulous. Doesn't make sense. Now, okay. It's got a little heated there. Right, so Sarisha, luckily though, is not going to be swayed by Maria's attempts to give Sane a second chance. Thank you, Sarisha. I'm delighted. But boy, does Maria want to cozy up to Sarisha. Oh, I got a little gift. Oh, I got a little gifty. Cringe. It was like cringe. Okay. So, and then Annie date night with Kholo. I think I said her date night with Kholo, her husband. I loved the scene. I love her husband's positive attitude to kind of everything. And he is just, he's so empowering towards Annie. He just talks about her fashion sense and her lovely bum and you're a great mom. He's just a lovely guy. He's warm, heartwarming, and he's having an image change this season. And okay, it's great, but it's not organic to me. Like, this scene made no sense. There was no reason for it except to want to show Annie as a loving mum with a husband who adores her, who's a really sweet person. And none of it made any sense except for that. And I saw the hand of production in it. And I thought, why are they trying to do an image change for Annie this season and keep her out of the drama? Has she asked to be out of the drama and said, I want a quiet season? Have they decided that they want to make somebody else more dramatic and push them in that direction, even if they don't want to go there? Are they editing? But what are they doing? But Annie is being framed as this pretty sweet little thing, just floating along in the middle. And, you know, their little family scenes. There's her with her lazy eye, with her husband, little date night. It's all cutesy. Sarisha used to be the cutesy one. So what's happened and who's made this decision? Question mark. Notes in the comments section, please. I'd love to hear your opinion, okay? And, by the way, don't forget to subscribe. Really important. The more you subscribe, the better I can do in the algorithm. The more content I can produce. It's free to subscribe. Also, please remember to like my content. 5,000 people watched my last video. This is fabulous. But very few speaking the French, very few managed to remember to like. So please like my content, okay? And now I will carry on. Oh, and share it with all your friends, please. Okay, so now we've got Sarisha, Slee, and Maria together. I could just sense danger straight away. Now remember, episode 1, Sarisha took Slee to one side and I said, there's an unholy alliance going to happen here. I could see it straight away. And of course, Maria has been itching to align with Sarisha from word go. And Sarisha gave her a miss, like a stop street. Now, she's in. She's in. I don't think Maria, she doesn't care about JoJo. If she can get in with Sarisha, she'll stay there. That's where she wants to be. She wants to be mates with Sarisha desperately. She's got, what do you call it? She's a fangirl. She's a Sarisha fangirl. Absolutely. Yeah. So, let's see what's going to happen. So, okay. So, so there they are, Maria and Sarisha, and then Slee walks in and Maria goes, oh, and there arrives my girl Slee with blonde hair. Maria, since when is Slee your girl? Huh? You see what I'm talking about. Maria, who in the very first episode said she hates fake and inauthentic people. And if she's your friend, she's loyal to you for life and will take a bullet for you. Let's wait. Isn't that fake and inauthentic? Your girl, Slee? Since when? Last week? Here's my girl. How much time have you actually spent together? 15 minutes? And let's see how the loyalty thing is going to work out now that you're in with Sarisha. I'm going to be very fascinated to see how many bullets you're going to take for JoJo now that you've got Sarisha in your sights. Fascinated, because JoJo is your supposed bestie. I wonder. So now we come to this. Why? Now, so Slee sits down and she immediately starts interrogating them about JoJo. And I have to say this. Why, Slee, are you asking questions about JoJo if you have ended the friendship and you have visited your spiritual mentor and father, and he has advised you? He has essentially said, and she's agreed that she is going to drop it, forgive, and walk away. This isn't doing that. She's sustaining this. She's reviving it, and not only that, she's taking it into a new forum, and she's rallying forces against JoJo and Nonku. Why? That's not spiritual stuff. That's not good stuff. That's not dropping it. That to me would be what I would believe making the ancestors angry. Yeah? You are perpetuating this animosity. So what kind of a friend is JoJo? She asks. Wisely are you not moving on? He's right. You will get sick, either mentally, emotionally, or physically, by doing this. So by gossiping about them and saying, you know, it's going to get back to them, which is what you said. You know, by talking about them, it's going to get back to them. So you know it's going to perpetuate it. You know it's going to perpetuate this disagreement, this war, this beef, this factionalization, whatever you want to call it. It's going to continue, and you're doing it. You're stoking this fire. Yeah, I've just said you're perpetuating this. Why? He's just told you not to. Go back and consult again. I'm concerned. So, I have referred to the they discuss Nonku not being present when Slee was talking to Calvin. I have already discussed that, and the fact that I have inserted the 2 videos where Calvin confirms twice that Nonku was present when Slee said Calvin is going to introduce me to a man and take me to the tattoo parlor, and that the only Nonku was present. However, she misunderstood it to mean that Calvin was going to take Slee to meet the tattoo parlor man. That is the only difference. Meet a man and a tattoo parlor, okay? It's just not meet that man and then go to the tattoo parlor. It's meet the tattoo parlor man. Either way, it was a hookup. Yeah? It was a hookup. To me, the thing that she's denying doing is asking for the hookup. I don't think she's worried about the tattoo parlor myself. But they go on about the fact that sitting there together, that Nonku wasn't even present. Calvin said it, and that JoJo and Nonku are lying about what Slee said to Calvin. That is not true. I've got the video where Calvin says Nonku was standing there, and the only mistake that Calvin made, and the only mistake that Nonku made was that Nonku overheard it or misunderstood it to mean that he was going to, that Slee had asked to be introduced or hooked up with the tattoo parlor man. Right. So, this season, Sarisha really seems to be determined to bring Nonku down at all costs. And as I said about my little suspicions about production and content getting very involved, they've generally seemed to remain on pretty good terms throughout the other seasons. They've just started on this season, and for no particular reason, Sarisha seems to be gunning for Nonku. I don't think Nonku's aware that Sarisha is gunning for her, in the same way that I don't think that Nonku has been particularly aware about how venomous Slee has been about her behind the scenes up until last episode. So that's, I find, quite interesting. And I'm not sure if it's just that there might have been a Mbali behind the scenes between seasons, or it is production playing a part, or Sarisha has just decided that she's going to make herself a bit more spicy this season because she's bored with being the queen of sugar and spice and all things nice, which she always has been. I liked her that way. So, and then they lay into JoJo drinking. I mean, please, really, that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel. I mean, have you ever seen JoJo drunk? She went to a wine tasting with Nonku. It was hilarious. I mean, she had about kind of dipped her finger in like this, So they're really trying to sort of, Nonku's a bad influence on you, you're drinking. Just because Nonku in the past has had a history over a time period when she was going through a bad patch where she drank too much, and now JoJo has the odd drink, and she's never said she doesn't drink, by the way. She just didn't drink. She was never never like me, a non-drinker. Just because she's having the odd drink nowadays because she feels like it, and they're going, oh, Nonku's very bad. Never, Maria and Sarisha are ganging up on JoJo, trying to kind of split up her and Nonku. Nonku's a very bad influence on you, because you're drinking, implying that because Nonku's had an alcohol problem, JoJo's going to get one too. You could tell that's the implication. I mean, it's loud and clear, and it's absolutely ludicrous and stupid. I really found that was funny. And then, of course, bring up the Calvin thing, and, Calvin, you didn't hear it, and, Nonku wasn't there, and you should apologize to Slee because you didn't hear it. I mean, JoJo handled it the way it should be handled, and I'm getting bored of the whole Calvin thing. The videos going in this video after that, the 2 videos together, and after that, I hope that the Real Housewives of Durban ladies will watch my review. And because, of course, they watch the episodes as they come out, as we did with our season. So a lot of the time, because you're not together, when you're filming all, one's at that restaurant, one's at that restaurant, one's there, and you don't realize what's happened. And you don't realize what somebody else said about you until the season episodes are actually shown. And then, of course, you have a blue fit. In fact, yeah, so, I mean, you have kittens because you go, oh, I can't believe they said that about me. Or you see how something's edited or whatever, and you realize how things look, or what some nasty thing that someone said, or some quite nice thing that someone said, or something that you heard that you misinterpreted, and you get the biggest shock of your life. So it's probably quite interesting for other people to, or for them who say, oh, Calvin didn't say that, or Calvin didn't say that Nonku was there. Now they're watching it and they're going, oh, well, he did. And then they have to sort of write down all their notes. This is the cast, so they can all bring it in and thrash it out at the reunion, because they almost get more of a shock than we do, because we don't know what happened. They do, or they know what they think happened. And often what they think happened is actually very different from reality, because someone comes back, like later in just a moment, I'm going to tell you something that Sarisha said right now, coming up now, something that Sarisha says to JoJo that absolutely didn't happen. So I went back to episode 2, it was episode 2, and I played it and I recorded it so that I can show you that what Sarisha told JoJo absolutely 100% did not happen. And so you then get somebody say something to you and you believe it and you think it happened, or you get told that it happened, and then you watch and you go, that never happened, and you get such a surprise. So so then we see JoJo's having a jacuzzi day. It's actually a very sweet scene. It's really fun. And she surprises Annie by inviting Nonku. And actually, it doesn't descend into a fist fight. They seem to have a really quite a nice time. Annie and JoJo, you both look fab. I actually didn't get to see Nonku's cotty, so I'm not sure. And Annie, that confessional look, we don't have issues. I love this line from Annie. We don't have issues. We're just not friends. Now, I really like that line because it is just so honest. Thank you at last. And you know what? It's okay. That is fine. Stop with all this, hello, darling, and I love you, and. It's okay to not like someone. We do not have to like everybody in the world. I don't understand what all this nonsense is about. I have to love you and be all kissy, air kisses, whatever. It's okay for me to just really not think that you're the nicest person in the world. I don't have to thoroughly dislike you either. I can just cooperate and be around you, and that's fine. We're just not friends. Great. I loved it, Annie. Thank you. So, the scene is fun. Slee, there's a discussion about Slee, in which Nonku and Annie do try and Nonku and JoJo do try and swing Annie across to their position. I like that Annie decides to remain open-minded. She says, I don't know, I haven't experienced that, Slee, so I'm going to sit where I am, which is be completely neutral, like Switzerland, and I will make up my own mind as I go along. Good girl. Unlike Maria and Sarisha, who are allowing themselves to be swung by Slee. But that's because Sarisha is on her own little game thing at the moment and she's gathering troops. But I like you, Annie, for doing that. Good. Remain neutral. Make up your own mind. Just be calm. I like where you're at the moment. I just hope that it's real and that it's not being formulated by the producers. Right, and then we have Sarisha, Maria, and the JoJo interrogation. So they start with the starting to drink interrogation with JoJo. Oh, really? Like, did you have a drink at my party? How many? Who are you? Who do you think you are? She's a grown woman. If she wants to have a drink, she can. Nonku is not, I don't believe, influencing her. I very much doubt it, but as I said, I can see what you're doing. You're trying to create the inference that that she's being led astray by Nonku, who once had a drinking problem. I mean, JoJo has a wonderful, stable marriage to Calvin. That he's a fitness bunny. He adores her. She has no serious issues that would lead her to suddenly develop a drinking problem. She says she had one vodka and tonic or something like that. No one's seen her drunk throughout the show. As I said at the wine tasting, I think she dipped her finger in the glass. But because she happened to mention that she decided to have the odd drink, ooh, the hens in the hen house. I mean, really. So, you see, they don't have enough to talk about. Anyway, so then Sarisha then talks about Slee's first introduction to JoJo. And she says that Nonku said that Slee had told her that she didn't like JoJo, that JoJo was a mean girl, that she was classist, I think. And then Sarisha says, but Slee then went on to say, I did say all these things, but now that I have met you, I can see that you're a nice person. And I thought, that didn't happen. So I thought, I have to be certain. I have to be certain. So I went back to episode 2. Was it episode? No, episode 1 at 27 minutes and 55 seconds. And I played it through. And the mean girl discussion happens, and the classist discussion happens, and it all gets a bit horrible. What I can absolutely assure you, 100%, is that Slee does not say, now that I've met you, Slee does not say, I did say all of those things, but now that I've met you, I can see that you are a nice person. So on tonight's episode, Sarisha says, I was there, I was sitting with you. Slee says, yes, I did say all of those things, but now that I've met you, I can see that you are a nice person. So, it never happened. Slee did not say what Sarisha remembered. Sarisha remembered wrong that she was a nice person. Didn't happen. So, here we are. We now have a new Maria, Sarisha, Slee alliance on the one hand, and we have a Nonku, JoJo alliance on the other. Somewhere in the middle we have Annie, who I think when it comes to the final push will align with Sarisha because will never be inclined to align with Nonku. And then we're going to have Sane stirring up a hornet's nest somewhere in the middle. So I think we're going to find for the rest of the season, a very undivided split. I think you're going to find these three, Maria, Sarisha, and Slee over there. You're going to find JoJo and Nonku there. Annie hovering, but mostly going off with the Maria, Sarisha, Slee group. Sane just causing general drama. But she may tend to go off with a bigger group, I think, leaving these two kind of alone. And Annie somewhere just hovering. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch. 2 against 5, with 2 being Annie and Sane somewhere here. Yeah. 3, so 3 up there. Maybe 4. 4 with Annie. 2 here. Sane, where did I put Mbali? Mbali might join in down here, actually. Possibly. Yeah. Mbali down here. Annie, Maria, Sarisha, Slee up there. Mbali, Nonku, JoJo there, the way I see it now. And then you've got Sane in the middle, creating massive strife. That's the way I think things are going at the moment. Very interesting to see. Let the stars fall where they may. Right. Now, on the last bit, Nonku and the family. Is it ever the right time, she asks. Well, Nonku, no, it's never the right time, obviously, except it's always the right time. Paula is the person that you would always ask for relationship advice. You said she's your very best friend. Well, that's the person that you always ask. I was just looking at the Queen and I was thinking, good heavens, I was thinking as a child, imagine if she was my granny, I'd be terrified out of my wits. But she is always good for a laugh, I must say. Anyway, so Dumi comes along and Paula asks him what he does. Well, of course, that's her job, you see, is to kind of find out what he does. And he says he's a hustler. Well, that kind of goes along with Maria's Tinder swindler, doesn't it? But she hasn't brought the receipts. Maria, bring those receipts. Then he says he's into construction, which rather reminds me of one of my favorite books, The Blessed Girl. There's a lot of construction going on in that book. Tenders and things. And well, the Queen does love her possessions, doesn't she? The thought of a motor car nearly makes her sort of, looks like she's almost going to, lay an egg. She gets so excited. Paula, however, is not looking convinced. Nonku, I think, have more chats with your friend Paula. And then Dumi, as a final cliffhanger to this episode of the show, announces that he has spent time in jail. And all I want to say to you, Nonku, because over the years, as you have gone through your struggles with alcohol, as I have gone through mine, and gone through your struggles with single parenthood, etc., etc., I have come to love you very much. I've come to love all the ladies of the Durban cast very, very much. And I care about all my fellow housewives. We all go through a lot, and we all get we get loved by our fans, and we get attacked by our fans. Let's put it that way. We have to have thick skins. Nonku, I just want to say, be careful, my darling. Be absolutely certain of what you're getting into and move slowly. because you are loved, and probably more than you know, and you don't need to rush into anything. It's a very famous proverb. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And on that note, my darlings, I'm going to say good night, adieu. I look forward to next week and episode 6 and feeling a little bit better. God bless. Sleep tight. Love you lots. Oh, and please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share with your friends. Bye.